like you said, an emotional roller coaster ride. And since I was riding with you, Eric, I'm sure you're just glad I wasn't blowing chunks at the end of this roller coaster.
Yeah.
It was close. We knew it would be. Both the teams, top 10 teams. At times they didn't look like top 10 teams, either one. At times they looked exceptionally well. I thought we looked pretty good on defense. I mean, you're talking about a Notre Dame team that came in average of 46 points, 481 yards of total offense a game, 298 passing, 183 rushing. Ohio State kept them to 14 points, 351 yards total, 175 passing, 176 rushing. Kept them below 50% when you combine third and fourth down conversion rate. Kept them to 5.48 yards per play for a pretty explosive offense. Coming in, I thought the defense did a pretty decent job. Always room for improvement. Offensively, I think we could have done better. But gosh, Eric, it's hard to deny. Kyle McCord, that last drive, was just amazing. Travion had some great moments. Chip came up big, would not be denied there at the end. Um, I had some issues with play calling again. I had. This is my thing. I think for me, the big problem that I've got is, we saw Ryan Day against Georgia, and he was aggressive up till the last couple series. Then we saw him against Notre Dame, where he was kind of that laid back coach until the last couple series. If we ever get a complete 4 quarters of the aggressive Ryan Day, Eric, I might have to resign as the president of the Ryan Day Must Go Club, because I'll tell you, I think it's in there. It's in there. And may I just say, thank you, Lou Holtz, for pissing this guy off to the point where he went out and just, at the end of that game, went for it. So for,
Yeah.
for me, that was it.
There was some interesting. It's really bad, Aaron. Yeah. There's some interesting points in this game, like Jay Thompson brings up. The fourth down jet sweep is a head scratcher. It really was. Like that was like, what is going on?
A funny one, Eric, that we talked about too. You and I were sitting there with that timeout that he didn't take,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately, that's really what may have saved the game for us is the fact he didn't take it, because on that intentional grounding, they were able to use that timeout versus taking the 10-second clock run.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It was interesting. I came away from this game feeling very similar to how I felt before I went into this game, and when my statement was that this was a coin flip game.
mhm.
These were two very evenly matched teams. I wrote in my article on the confidence level on Scarlet and Game that I felt like if these teams played 10 times, Ohio State would win 6.
Mhm.
I still feel that way. I feel like I'm justified in my thinking with this game. Both teams made mistakes in this football team. Both teams being uber aggressive, going forward on fourth down. Notre Dame missing a field goal that was literally something like a chip shot for this guy. Ohio State dropping a touchdown pass in the first half. Just so many different things that you can go back and point at and say if this would have went this way or that would have went that way. These two teams, I said it last night. I'm looking over college football today, the landscape of college football. I still think these are two of the top 4 teams in college football. I think the other two are also in the Big Ten East right now. Now, people, Georgia might have an argument there. Maybe top 5, right? That
Mhm.
those are the top 5 teams. Penn State, team up north, Ohio State, Georgia, Notre
Yeah,
Dame.
because the
And
other
by my
teams,
eyeballs,
yeah.
Florida State, yeah, they had the huge win over LSU, but look, they struggled against
No,
Boston
It
College.
was Florida they had the big win over, wasn't it?
No, Florida State had the big win over LSU.
Oh, you're right. Florida State. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then they stumble against Boston College, right? They
And they
they
did
like
not look good versus an
barely
average Clemson team.
correct, right? So I think Florida State's a little bit fool's gold. We know Colorado ain't it, all right? So you got the teams out west, USC and Oregon, right? They're one of them's going to eliminate the other one.
Washington,
Um, yeah, well, you got Washington. The Pac-12 is interesting. That might be,
Utah, who I think might have one of the best defenses in the nation.
but they don't have an offense.
Well, half their offense is injured right now. They get if they can, the defense can keep them in there till the end of the season. They may have a legitimate argument.
All right, Aaron, are you back with us? Aaron, welcome back to the show. Sounded good, buddy.
Hey, all right.
All
I'm
right.
sorry
There we
about that,
go.
guys.
No
I
problem.
am
No
so
problem.
sorry.
No problem, Aaron. So let's get your quick initial reaction. Chris and I have been kind of going back. What's your initial reaction from the game?
I like the aggression on the offensive and defensive line. Okay, and I know what a lot of people are probably thinking. Why the defensive line? Well, if you remember the first half, they only allowed I think it's like 50 or 60 yards rushing in total. Okay, now over the course of the game, you're going to get worn down. Notre Dame used 5 running backs to wear us down. Okay, that was intentional. But I mean, we did a nice job limiting their run plays. They didn't gash us terribly. They really limited Sam Hartman. The tackling looked fantastic. I was very pleased with that. That was a point of concern for me, big time. Kyle McCord. I can't say enough about just how cool headed he reminded me of Craig Krenzel. I am not going to lie. He reminded me of Craig Krenzel just a
Well,
little bit.
there's one big difference there. Kyle McCord, he's got an arm. Okay, he's got an
Yeah.
arm. All
Yeah.
right.
Hey, man. He made
Krenzel was
some,
a better
yeah,
runner, though. Krenzel was definitely a
agreed.
better runner.
Agreed. But the decision making, the ability to make a play at the right time, that was there, and that's what I was looking at. But yeah, you're 100% right. McCord can sling it a little bit better than Krenzel. But Travion showed up. Chip Trayanum, buddy. I told you, Chip. And also, I want to just throw this in there, and you know it's coming.
Yeah, here comes
To
Chip and
dip.
Dip.
But yeah,
That
man,
just happened.
it did just yeah. Somebody make some t-shirts, all right? But no, the big thing for me was they showed up when they needed to. We at the beginning of the season, we have felt like this was going to look a lot more like 2002.
Yep.
And so far it kind of has,
Yep. Was that Holy Buckeye?
It's the most
the pat
appropriate place for it if it was.
I was just about to say, touchdown Jesus didn't save him yesterday, did it? Not to be weird about it, but he didn't.
Sacrilegious,
Yeah, yeah. No disrespect to Jesus, okay, but I don't.
or the Pope.
Hey, you
Or
know
the
what?
Pope,
Maybe Jesus is just a
but
Buckeyes fan.
hey, that's facts. That's a
G,
fact.
G,
He wasn't on
I,
Notre Dame's side yesterday.
Brian Oberst.
Holy chip.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh
Oh
yeah,
gosh.
but I don't know if that counts as Holy Buckeye or not, man. Or but it was certainly a play we needed, and they
Yep.
made it.
All right, letter grades. Let's jump into it, guys. Offensively yesterday, Ohio State had 240 yards passing, 126 yards rushing, for a total of 366 yards, 5.6 yards per play, 19 first downs, 10 of 17 on third down, 1 of 3 on fourth down, 25 minutes and a second on time of possession, no turnovers, offensive letter grade, Chris.
I'd love to give him an A, but I just can't. I got to go a B, and I'll tell you why. The failure to get the fourth and shorts, um, I think that's something that could come back to haunt us later down the road if we can't get that fixed. The other thing is, for me, we made some stupid penalties on offense, specifically Josh Fryer's penalty. Um, I feel like if we can clean that stuff up, maybe we're working towards that A grade. But right now, I got to give him a B.
Aaron.
Yeah, I went with a B plus, and it's similar reasons. We didn't turn the ball over. We did quite well taking care of and protecting the football, but some of the penalties were a little stupid. And in retrospect, I kind of understand now about Fryer's penalty because, I mean, Lou Holt, he said that we weren't aggressive. Said to bring our lunch. Josh Fryer brought the lunch. Unfortunately, there was a flag with it. So,
He brought it and threw up on it. That's what he
yeah,
did.
he did. But I respected it. They had a good output.
Yeah, so we had Brian Oberst gave the offense a B plus. Larry Daniels gave him a B plus. I gave him a B minus. I thought this was a C kind of day offensively. I don't think the offensive line did very well, but at the end of the day, that last drive, as someone said at the beginning of the chat early on, it was probably the drive of the century, or one of the best drives in college football history. Four Horsemen, what is the grade for the O line, especially at center? I got to give them the O line brings that letter grade down for me. That's why I'm at a B minus, so probably in the
Yeah.
C range.
Well, how many
Um,
times did McCord get sacked?
Once, well, no, it was zero, but that one play where they gave him intentional grounding was pretty much a
No, no,
sack.
he got a sack once.
He got sacked once
He got
plus the
sacked one
intentional
time. There was two
grounding.
tackles for loss.
So you think one sack is an average
No,
performance?
but I will say this
They
is
were being manhandled
I
though.
don't think we got the same push in the run game that Notre Dame was getting from their offensive
Yes.
line. And
Well,
our defensive line said it in the post game that that was the best offensive line they've ever played against. That's quite the compliment right there.
it
JT's
is.
played against Penn State, the team up north, and they all said that was the most physical, best offensive line they had ever played against. That's something, and quite frankly, if we're going to get into it, let's get into it. That last drive that they had, Aaron, if they would have just kept running the football, they probably would have won the football game,
Yeah.
but
I
they
agree.
they they put the football in the hands of their quarterback, which is that's why they brought him in, right?
Hmm.
Is to win games like that. But man, I don't know. You just keep running the football, run the clock out, make us burn our timeouts, and we hadn't stopped it. We couldn't stop it because of the offensive line. So that's why I gave the offense. I'm a little bit weary of our offensive line. Hey, listen, it was the weakness of this team coming into the season. We knew it.
Yeah.
We all knew it.
Look
And
at the
they're getting better.
there. Thank you. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Yes, they are
It took
much better
time for
from
an offensive
Indiana.
line to gel.
From Indiana to last night, world of difference.
Do you? Let's talk. Okay, we're gonna get into this one next. So the Four Horsemen says, do you agree that we had no pressure on Hartman? Let's talk about that. But first, let's give our defensive letter grades. I'll go first since I went last. I think the defense, in my opinion, was an A minus. Whenever you only give up 14 points as a team, you are expected to at least score 17 or more to get the win. Okay? So the defense did its freaking job yesterday. They weren't perfect. I understand that. They gave up 175 yards passing, 176 yards rushing for 351 yards total, 5.5 yards per play. All of these look very similar to Ohio State's numbers, especially the yards per play. 22 first downs, 5 of 10 on third down, 0 of 2 on fourth down. So they got off the field. Time of possession was 34-59 in favor of the Irish and no turnovers again, but there was all those fourth down turnovers, but we're not counting those. So I gave them an A minus on the day as my letter grade. Aaron?
I also went with an A minus. And to that person's question, I agree. We didn't get to him enough, but we did. We did. You got to also take into consideration too their whole offensive strategy was to utilize all five running backs and wear our defensive line down, and it worked. But at the end of the game, what happened? We got some pressure on him. JTT almost pulled what was it, Penn State from a year or two
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Almost did that. I mean, we got the pressure that we needed to get at the right time. But overall, I do agree we didn't pressure him as much as we needed to. But a work in progress. We're getting better.
Chris?
Yeah, I want a B plus. I feel like the defense overall did a pretty good job. And as far as the defensive line getting pressure, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Aaron, but I think that Michigan for the last 2 years has kind of shown the way to offset that defensive pressure a little bit by doing just running the ball and doing those 3-step drops to where you know you don't really have time to get back there with 3 or 5 step drop. It's I think that they've kind of most teams are now, I think, adopting that to try to offset JT Tuimoloau out and Jack Sawyer and Michael Hall and Talik Williams. I mean, I thought they did great in the run game up the middle. Um, that kid's a load. He was coming in averaging well over 100 yards a game,
Estimate we handled Estimate.
and we handled him. It was
It
the
was their
other
scat
guys,
backs. Their scat
and
backs were all over
and
us,
as Aaron
man.
said, that was the plan. And I mean, if you look at the amount of time, and Eric, you and I commented on it over there in Pittsburgh. Look at how much time they were on the field in the first 2 quarters.
Yeah.
They were gassed in that second half.
Oh yeah.
So I couldn't give them an A. We didn't. Again, and I personally want to know how JTT did not get credit for a sack on that play. By the way,
Yeah.
they credited it as a run loss for Sam Hartman, but
A
yeah,
run loss? When
Yeah.
a lost yardage due to a run as opposed
rushing
to
loss
a
instead
rushing
of a
loss.
sack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I
but
second
I
that.
went B plus. I think that there's room for improvement, but I think they were solid.
Aaron, what was yours again?
A minus.
A minus. All right, cool. I want to write that down so I don't forget. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. All right, let's hand out some Buckeye leaves, guys. This is gonna be interesting. Aaron, I don't know. I've all day
One
long.
and only one, Aaron.
All day long, I've been thinking when we get to this portion of handing out Buckeye leaves, I can only
You remember my
imagine.
prediction for Aaron tonight, right, Eric? Because we had this
Uh,
discussion last night of how
I
many Aaron was going
forget.
to
I
pass
forget.
out.
What was it? Was it 4? 3?
3 offensive.
Oh, you think I'm giving 3?
Oh,
I can only give 1.
Oh, you think I'm giving 3? Watch this. Oh,
Yeah.
there's 11 of them on the field.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That is if you're
got left in
there's
the
11
show?
on the field if you play for Ohio State, that is.
Yeah, that's
right.
correct. Yes. Apparently the math department at Notre Dame is a little lacking.
Oh, shoot. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. Let's start here. Let's just start from the beginning, Aaron. Hit me. Offensive player of the game. Who you got?
I just went with Travion Henderson, man. I would love to give several. I thought about Cade Stover because he kind of kept us going there in the beginning, but ultimately, I got to go with Travion, man.
All right. I'm shocked. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm shocked by that, but cool.
Why?
All right.
Why?
Because you always give out more than one. Like especially when it's close, you're like I'm gonna give one to everybody. Because I believe in giving everybody a trophy.
It was a team. No, I don't.
Oh, you do when it comes to Buckeye leaves.
Well, hey, you know what? Wow, that hurts my feelings.
Yeah,
Did you see that comment?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Wow,
Well,
that's
hey,
harsh.
at least I'm not the the head coach of LSU's caddy. I don't know why are you here right now?
Oh, he's making fun of Brian Kelly with that name.
Yeah,
That's what
all
that
good.
is.
That's funny
Yeah.
though.
It is good. He is really funny. We like him.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian Oberst, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. I think Sammy posted that same thing. For me, it was Kyle McCord. Listen to the final stats on the final drive. This is why I'm calling him Iceman. 3rd and 10, 27-yard pass to Egbuka. 4th and 7, 7-yard pass to Fleming. 2nd and 10, 19-yard pass to Harrison Jr. 3rd and 19, 21-yard pass to Egbuka. Dude, have yourself a day, young man. Come on. He went up that drive. Okay, this is going to hurt some of you Notre Dame fans, but that drive right there probably put Sam Hartman out of running for Heisman. Because when you think of Sam Hartman, you're now going to think of what Kyle McCord did in your house. We've seen that at Ohio State. We've had candidates. Hey, he's a Heisman candidate down to the very end. He goes into that game and he gets outshined by the opposing team quarterback, and now he's no longer mentioned. So I'm going to go with the Iceman as my offensive MVP, Chris.
Yeah, I did too. And I'll tell you another play that you didn't really mention in that drive, Eric, which a lot of people would discount, is the clock play. How easy, and Aaron, you can speak on this as a coach. How often do guys get a penalty on that clock play because they don't wait for guys to get set when they're rushing up like that?
That is very common. Very common. In fact, I was waiting for the flag to come out.
Yeah,
That's a good point,
I really
Chris.
felt like he did everything right on that last drive. And I thought he had a decent day up through there. I mean, there again, room for improvement, but he's what, 5 starts into his career.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
let's give him a little leeway. I think that what we saw last night, I don't want to put too much on the young man right now, but that's the kind of things that legends become made of right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Dude, he's on the same trajectory statistically and with the control of the offense that CJ Stroud was, except for one other thing. CJ Stroud lost that game 2 years ago
Oregon,
against
yeah,
against Oregon, where McCord won it. So I don't want to compare the two because I think that's unfair
yeah.
because CJ Stroud was really good statistically. But I'll tell you right now, again, this almost hurts to say this. How many times did CJ Stroud beat our rival?
He didn't.
Zero. Zero times. At the end of the day, you can have all the stats in the world, but there's not a stat that judges the size of your heart. I think kid's got it. He might not be a raw guy. He might not be the type of person that is talking trash and doing all kinds of things like that. Yeah, Brian Oberst. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, he beat the Jaguars today. Yes, he did. Raw. We're not talking about the NFL though, although he did look really good in the NFL today. But I'm talking about on the field at this stage in their career. I'm not sure McCord isn't ahead where Stroud was.
And you know what? McCord's got, I think, more guts. He ran the ball. It was
What
the
do you think,
ugliest
Aaron?
daggone slide I've ever seen because he went
Oh,
head first.
it is ugly.
But you know
He
what?
impressed me.
When he had to, he ran, tucked and ran.
Yeah.
All
Little
right.
athleticism there too, man. I was impressed.
Hey man, I got it. Brian, you must have a mom like me. We got good moms. Thank the good Lord for that, buddy. All right, let's go over to the defensive MVP of the game. I got kind of a surpriser for you, but we'll start with you, Chris.
I think there's a lot of ways you could have gone here, but as far as the player of the game, I'm gonna go with Latham Ransom. He was kind of all over the place yesterday. Made a couple of really, really big hits, and he led the team in tackling with 11 tackles.
I'm with you. That give him two. That was kind of my pick too. I went back and watched it today after looking at the stats. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wait a minute, he had 13 tackles, 7 solo, and I went back and watched the game again today,
Well,
this
and that hit
afternoon.
that him and Sonny Styles put
On the fourth down, yeah, before we just lost Chris there. On the fourth down, him and Sonny Styles on the stop. Yes, that was huge. He also had another big hit too later in the game. So Brian Oberst says give the whole secondary the whole secondary a Buckeye Leaf. Aaron, what do you got? Who's your defensive MVP?
I don't know, but it's good to know that there's two other people in the chat that enjoy participation trophies as well. Now, I also make it three. I've had my reservations about Lathan Ransom this season because several games this season he's met a running back in the hole and completely whiffed. That wasn't the case last night. He was back to the Lathan Ransom that I feel like we all thought we were getting when he came to Columbus. So give it to him.
Yeah. All right. Let's go over to now let's stay on the defense side. The defensive play or hit of the game. Chris, I'll let you go first.
defensive play of the game. Man, there was a lot that we could have went with, but I went with AT Tuimaluau's sack that wasn't. That was huge. That drove him back and put him in a bad situation. Negative yards on that. Made it tough. It made it so they couldn't convert and get that first down.
Yeah.
That's what really I think set up that game-winning drive.
Aaron, your defensive player hit of the game.
The play you just mentioned about the fourth down stop where Ransom and Styles came across there and made the stop. I feel like that was a crucial play at that time.
Yeah, that was a big one, but I'm with you. I'm with you, Chris. I went with the JT sack. I think that actually gave us a chance to even get the football back because
Yeah.
it set them behind the change so far back after I think they had gained 2 first downs right away.
Mm-hmm.
And we're moving the ball and the clock was being sucked down. That stop, and then of course the next one where he almost had the pick and stopped the clock. But that play set everything into motion so that we could get the football back and then go get the win. So that was big for me. Aaron, the offensive play of the game was this one should be pretty easy. I'm pretty sure
I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, it's Chip's touchdown run,
it
but
is.
I'm gonna go with a different one.
Okay.
Chip doesn't run for that touchdown if Kyle McCord doesn't complete the pass to the 2 yard line to Emeka Egbuka. For
Yeah, that
me,
was.
that was the
Yeah.
play of the game.
Was that a third down? It was a 3rd and 19, right?
Third and
I don't
19.
remember the yardage, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I believe it was a third down.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it was right after the grounding call.
I think that was a 3rd and 19 if I recall correctly. Yeah. I went with the Chips touchdown. It's iconic. It's going to be a call that we hear for the rest of our lives. It's the holy Buckeye of this generation, possibly of the national championship run. So why not, give it to him? That's the way I'm looking at it. Chris?
Yeah, I got to go with you. That young man was not going to be denied on that play. I don't think if they would have had 12 guys on the field instead of the 10 that they were going to stop Chip Trayanum on that play. He was not going to be denied.
Yeah, yeah. Here's what's crazy. I like now. So since we're here, let's talk about it. Sammy agrees with you, Aaron.
Few
They
people
only
did.
had 10 players in. Okay, the player that they were missing
Was
was their
that right end?
was the right defensive end, and that's exactly where we run the football. If he was there, do we get the touchdown? I don't think we do.
Oh, I think we do. He was not. Chip was not going to be denied there.
That's going to be debated forever.
It,
If
It
they
it
had
will be.
11 players, that gap that Chip went to wouldn't have been there. Somebody
that's what
would
I'm
have been
No.
in
saying.
that gap. That's why I went with the other play with Egbuka, because Chip wouldn't have even been in a position to make that run if that pass wasn't completed.
The tackle came. The tackle got through and got his hands on him. The linebacker crashed down and was untouched. Again,
Yep.
here's what's crazy. Go back and watch the play. Simmons, the left tackle,
Mhm.
blocked nobody.
Well, that was an ongoing theme by half the night.
I was
He
about to say, come with Chris on that.
he blocked nobody, and we
That
we
dude
managed to
is.
squeak the ball across the goal line. I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know that we score there. I'm just being honest.
I got a question for you guys regarding that kid.
Which
Why did
one?
we, of all the players we could have went to the transfer portal for, we got the most penalized player in the country
I
last
was
year?
wondering if somebody was going to bring that up.
That's
Yeah.
who we decided was like, yo, I want that guy.
Well, do you want the
That's
simple
a
answer, Aaron? Do
guaranteed flag.
you want the
Let's
simple
get it.
answer?
Sure.
The top ones went to Michigan. Cut and dry.
That's
The
fair.
And
top
and
transfer tackles went to Michigan.
and there were two other ones who were in on, and neither one of them decided to come to Ohio State. One went
That's
to
crazy.
One went
one
to Notre
went
Dame, didn't they?
to no,
I was going to say, I thought
did
one
he?
did, but maybe not. I
Maybe.
thought
Yeah.
maybe I heard something about that. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't recall. We'd have to go back and look, but it's
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 all
it's
good.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not so sure that Robert's not onto something here. He's
Yeah.
a freshman, he's inexperienced, but is it time that Luke Montgomery gets put in and see what he can do?
Well, I'll tell you,
Um,
I don't know that he could do much worse than what we're seeing out of Simmons right now. And
but at the same time, does that making that change or move now disrupt the overall growth of the offensive line?
Yes, it does.
yes, it
It
does.
will affect how they have gelled.
So
5 games
we
is
go.
or 4 games is a lot of time that they've spent together
Quarter of the season.
preparing. Yeah, right.